So I want to welcome everyone. We're now recording. This is Chris Paget. I'm the global co-leader along with my good friend in Belgium, Carl Van Hooy, of the ICF Team and Group Coaching Community of Practice. This community is powered by the International Coach Federation. Today is Tuesday, February the 2nd, 2016. We are thrilled today. We have with us Kathy Harman, and Kathy is going to be really presenting to us at the intersection of team and group coaching and agile coaching. Kathy is a self-professed geek turned coach who specializes in helping emerging technical leaders thrive in their careers. She is completely devoted to the profession of coaching. She's involved in the coaching community, having served as president and in a number of volunteer roles of the Virginia chapter of the International Coach Federation. She has served on the board of the Association of Coach Training Organizations, and she's a director of training for Success Unlimited Networks, and she trains coaches at entry level through full certification. Kathy is a certified coach mentor. She is also a master certified coach. She earned a bachelor's degree from Mary Baldwin College. And, you know, just so all of you know, our presenters, including Kathy, they do these programs pro bono. This is a service and a give back that they do for our community and for the profession. And before we get started, I just want to acknowledge and thank Kathy for being so kind and generous with her time to do today's program. And I also want to acknowledge all of you on this program. We've got 156 attendees for taking an hour out of your day today to further your learning and to develop your coaching competencies. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kathy Harman. Kathy, take it away.
Oh, thanks very much, Chris. I really appreciate that. And I am Kathy Harman. I'm a Agile transformation coach, part of what I do. And we'll find out today what that means. And I want to say that I am thrilled at the number of people who are interested in Agile. There has been a gulf between ICF and the Agile that nobody seems to be able to breach for years. And so one of the things I have been made it one of my missions is to try to bring the two together for two reasons. One is that it affords team coaches to have an opportunity to really help their own bottom line, to build their business. Because as an Agile coach, you pretty much always have a job, and the jobs are like contracts that are 30 to 40 hours a week for months to years. So it's a really good way to build your business. But also because having people who really know how to coach, the Agile coaches, will help the businesses, will help the corporations and the teams themselves. So it's a way for us to be able to make a positive impact in the world. So we're all coaches here. We're going to partner in exploration. What I'm going to be talking about, obviously I cannot give you a full training on what Agile is. I want to give you an idea of what it is so that you can make decisions as to, is this something I want to pursue or not? So what we're covering in this program is, number one, what the heck is this Agile stuff I keep hearing about? And then why I should even care about this. And then if I do care about it, how do I want to add it to my toolbox? So that's what we're going to go through today. Please do ask questions. Raise your hand if you've got burning questions, and I'll be pausing quite often to get your questions, because some of this stuff is pretty esoteric. So bear with me for the first couple of slides. I'm going to give you why Agile exists, where it came from, and how it, very high level, how it works. The whole thing came from a need. I've been around IT, or information technology, since the early 70s. And so in those days, we had very small groups doing really cool stuff. It was exciting, it was new, everything was by the seat of our pants. Of course, that couldn't last. By the 80s, things had to be more structured. If you were talking about creating databases of information for an entire company, you had to get it right the first time. By the 90s, it had become so cumbersome. So what you would start out with is customers have some idea of something I need. I need a new payroll system. And so they would go to their information technology group, and those people then would start a long journey to get this payroll system done. And it would be in phases, and you would start with, let's get your requirements. And so they would get the requirements, and this could take months. It had to be perfect and go back and forth. And finally, we'd get the requirements, and then it would go to the next IT group, which was the designers. And they would design, and they would find something wrong with the requirements and go back to the requirements people, et cetera, et cetera. Eventually, it gets to the programmers who actually created the stuff. If they find anything wrong, they have to go back to the requirements. It was like Sisyphus trudging that huge boulder up the hill only to have it roll back down, and he has to start all over again. In these months, this could take months or years to get to this final piece. Meanwhile, by the end, by the time it gets to testing, people are working 80-hour weeks. I mean, it was not unusual to have a group that hadn't had a day off, not even weekends, in months. In months. You know, these people are working 80-hour weeks every day of the week. By the time they finished, well, you'd have the business person getting some amount of what they wanted. Usually it was not what they wanted. It might be a piece of what they needed, but not really what they wanted. And then you have the IT team who was completely burnt out, and usually half of them will leave and become goat farmers somewhere. So it was just very, very cumbersome. It would burn out everybody involved. By the 90s, 80% of technical projects came in over budget and or only a portion of what the customers wanted and or not what they needed at all, or it didn't even come in at all. 80% of projects. So you can imagine the impact this had on businesses. So enter a small group of technical people who said, okay, this isn't going to work. And you can do some research. This evolved over a period of time, but what they came up with is an iterative approach to being able to get the customers what they wanted. So you'd start out with, I need a new payroll system. And you would involve IT, the business person would get together and they'd sit down and they'd come up with this big list of these are all the things that need to be done for a payroll system. And they prioritize that list. Okay, so the top thing is the most important thing to get done. And so the team would say, okay, what's the most important thing? Business may say, well, I need people to be able to key in their time. We need to know how many hours they work. So the IT team would work for a few weeks, not months, and they would come up with a system that allows people to put in their time. The business would look at it and say, yeah, this is exactly what I need, or they'd say, well, why don't you change this color to purple instead of red, or whatever. The team would go back and get the next most important thing, and they'd deliver that. Wow, this is really good. This is working. And so now I want you to calculate the payroll. They go back and work for a couple of weeks, deliver. Now we know how to calculate the payroll. And this would iterate. This would repeat until all the work was done, or the customer said, okay, this is enough. I don't need any more. You can be freed up to do your next project. Because the work is chunked into these 2 to 3 or to 4 week iterations like this, the IT team is working 40-hour weeks or 50-hour weeks, and by the time they're done, they're feeling really good. They celebrate, okay? So that whole iterative thing allows the teams to deliver value early, like right here at the very beginning, and often, every few weeks, the customer is getting something of value, something that they can use, they can actually look at and decide whether it's what they want or make some changes. If the market changes, they can scrap the whole thing, and they've actually got something that they could use. And it allows the teams not to have to get months into a project and then have the rug pulled out from under them. So it's just a very flexible way of being able to get work done, especially project work. Okay, are you all still with me? Do you understand the difference?
No.
Okay, any hands up? Anybody want to ask questions at this point?
Anyone have any questions? Just raise your hand and I will unmute you. Doesn't look like we have any questions right now.
Cool. Okay. So what I would like to do,
Hey Kathy, can you on your control panel? Someone's asking, can you minimize the control panel so they can see all of your slides?
Oh.
There you go. Thank you.
Is that better?
Yes.
It went to the other side for me. Okay. Okay. So we're going to try an experiment. I need 3 volunteers, and let me warn you, you will be singing online where everybody can hear you. Okay, so out of 170 some people, I'm sure we have 3 people who are willing to put themselves out there and sing.
So
okay,
if you want to volunteer, just raise your hand and I will unmute you.
Remember, nobody can see you, so it really doesn't matter.
Carl, I will participate if you don't have enough people.
Okay.
So we've got one. It looks like Valley Murphy is going to participate, so I'm going to unmute Valley. Valley, can you hear us?
We hear you. Say something.
Okay. Who is anyone else willing to? Sue. Let's see. Sue is willing to volunteer. Let's unmute Sue. Sue, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, wonderful. And let's see. We need another volunteer. Come on. There's got to be one more brave soul. Oh, here we go. Linda Spencer. Linda.
Hey.
Can you hear us, Linda?
I hear you. Do you hear me?
Yes, wonderful. So we have 3 volunteers. Thank you all.
Great. Thank you so much. So volunteers, do you all know the song Row, Row, Row Your Boat?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to start out, and I need each one of you. We'll start. Who is the first volunteer?
I was the first one, Carl.
Got Carl, we've got Linda,
Yeah.
and we have Sue. Okay, so we're going to start out with Carl. I would like you to sing Row, Row, Row Your Boat. When you're done, then we'll have Linda sing it, and when she's done, we'll have Sue sing it, okay? Okay, Carl, you're up. Sing Row, Row, Row Your Boat.
I heard a toilet flush. Sorry, this is Sue. That was funny.
It's going to get better. Okay, Carl.
Yes.
Sing Row, Row, Row Your Boat, please. All by yourself.
I'm not sure if I understand. Must I say row, row, row or something?
No, this is the song. Do you not know the song?
No, I do not know the sound. I'm sorry.
Okay, Carl, you're not going to be able to participate in this piece.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Thank you for volunteering. I appreciate it.
Okay.
So either we need one more person or Chris. Chris, it's up to you.
Let's see. Do we have one more courageous volunteer? Yes, we do. Christopher John. Christopher, let's see. Can you hear us, Christopher?
Hello.
Okay, so Christopher, you know how to sing Row, Row, Row Your Boat, yes?
I know how to. I don't know whether I can, but I'll give it my best.
Okay, we're going to start with Linda singing. Linda, please sing
Okay.
Row, Row, Row Your Boat.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is just a dream.
Okay, yay! Thank you. Sue, can you please sing it?
I'll try. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Ha ha, fooled you. I'm a submarine. Oh, sorry, that wasn't the right lyrics.
Okay, Sue, as your customer, I want you to sing it again, and this time sing the more common ones.
The traditional version? Okay. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
Yay! Okay. Now, Christopher, it's up to you. Please sing Row, Row, Row Your Boat.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 isn't life a dream?
Very well done. Thank you. Okay. We just did the traditional method of getting things done, okay? First Linda sang it, and then Sue sang it, and she gave it her own little wonderful twist. So I made her go back and do it again the way everybody else did, okay? Because that was my requirement. And then Christopher sang it. Now we're going to do it agile. Okay, we're going to do an agile row, row, row your boat, which means we're going to sing in rounds. So we'll start with Linda, and after her first verse, then Sue will chime in and sing it in the round. And after Sue's first verse, then Christopher will join. Okay, you've all done this before, so we'll try it right now online. This has never been done before. We are on the bleeding edge of webinars. So, Linda, please start us off.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is just a dream.
Okay, Sue, you forgot to jump in. Or can't
So traditionally, the person jumps in when they're in the middle of the verse. Should I jump in at the middle when there's in the verse?
Yes, you jump in the
Okay.
middle, and Christopher, you jump in the same way, okay?
Okay, I got my cue now.
Okay.
Take it away again.
Take it away.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the
Row,
stream.
row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
Merrily, 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 life is but
Merrily, 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 merrily.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, merrily.
Row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
Yay! Okay, so that was agile, okay? We tried it first, we didn't get it off, so we tried it again, and then it all came together, okay? At the end, we had a finished product of a round of Row Your Boat. And I want to acknowledge Linda, Sue, and Christopher for your bravery and your beautiful voices and your ability to contribute. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Now, what did you all notice between the two trials that we did? So basically the one was one person singing at a time, getting through. Each one had their own verse. We had to go back and make one person do it again. So the length of time it took to get through one round of Row, Row, Row Your Boat. Second round, where you had people singing in harmony, or a reasonable facsimile thereof, and the length of time it took, the amount of collaboration. I mean, these are three people who are on a webinar who do not know each other and are probably on different continents, okay? And yet they were able to come together and do a round of Row, Row, Row Your Boat. So I would like to hear from some people of what did you get from that example?
So just raise your hand if you'd like to participate. Okay, we've got Mark Lister.
Mark?
Hi, can you hear me okay there?
Yes.
Great. Well, what I got was that it was really clear that you had, and overall it took less time, and it required, it was sort of more interaction between the people that were involved. So, like, if you get that greater level of sort of collaboration going on within a structure that permits that, then you can make it, you can get things done a lot quicker.
Bingo. This is the exact thought behind Agile, is that when you have a team of people who are collaborating and in harmony, they, number one, can do things more quickly, but they also do it better, more harmoniously, and they have more fun doing it. Okay, so you get rid of that burned out thing. There's not one individual at a time in the spotlight trying to get their work done. Now it's we all pull together. So the team is integral to Agile, completely integral. Okay, so that's why this is of interest to this group. Now, you're going to hear, when you talk about Agile, you're going to hear the word Scrum. Now, Scrum is a rugby term, and the whole thing is the idea of the whole team jumping in and working together to be able to make progress. And what Scrum is, it is a way of doing Agile. And I'm going to give you just a real quick idea of what that means. And you should be somewhat familiar from the previous slide how that all fits in. So you have, the business has some kind of goal. So your customer wants something done. The project team gets together with the customer for a planning session, and the project team says, what is it that you need? Tell us everything you need. And they prioritize that list. They create what they call a product backlog. That backlog is a list of everything that hasn't been done yet. Prioritize the most important one at the top, the least important at the end. So the team works, remember I said, in iterations. And those iterations, they often call them sprints. I have a 2 to 4 week sprint. And they take from that product backlog the top however many things that they can complete and give to the customer in that 2 to 4 week sprint. The reason why you see these arrows going around in a circle over the sprint is because we'll keep doing this over and over again. Daily Scrum is every morning the team gets together and every person on the team stands up, and they're all standing during this meeting. It takes about 15 minutes, and they say, this is what I did yesterday, this is what I plan to do today, and here are my impediments, or I have no impediments. That's all it's done. What this does is ensures that everybody on the team knows exactly what everybody else is doing at any time. There are various other ways that we also keep the work very visible, so there are no surprises. Everybody knows what's going on. When they complete that 2 week or 4 week or whatever sprint, they present to the customer, this is what we've done. Here, try it out, see what you like. The customer then says, yes, this is what I want, or can you change this? Or they could say, well, yeah, and now we've discovered some new stuff we need. Let's add this to our product backlog. After that meeting, you have the jewel of Agile, and my favorite piece, not that I'm prejudiced or anything, the retrospective. And this is where the team sits down and says, what is it we did well? What can we learn from what we did? What are we going to do differently going forward so we can be even more efficient and productive and have more fun? Okay? And then finally, after that, they get together with the business again and plan what are the changes to the product backlog? What can we pull off for our next sprint, the next highest things that we want to do? Okay? So it is very iterative and very flexible. During this sprint review is when the business or the customer can say, you know, the market's totally changed. I now want to have everything be in pink instead of green, because we found out that pink is what attracts people. So, and it's very easy to do at this point.
Hey, Kathy?
Yes.
Jody Grossman asked a question specifically about that. Jody typed in, how do you determine a date when a product will be released to the market?
And that, I love that question, because that is the biggest question that especially new companies have. They say, well, this sounds kind of open-ended. How do we know that we're going to have it in a month or a year or whatever? In this first planning, you come up with a roadmap. Okay, so the team has a fairly decent idea of when they think they're going to do this. I have a whole class on this, on how you determine this. But this roadmap will give you an idea of, this is when we think you'll have this much of it, this is when we think you'll have this much of it, and this is when we think it's going to end. And oh, by the way, that can change at any point depending on this sprint review and the changes you give us. Okay? So there are a lot of techniques and things that we use to be able to give that idea. Now, having said that, technical teams are notoriously horrible at estimating what they think they're going to get. And so this is actually more accurate, a more accurate way of giving the business an idea, because it's more factual of, you know, we know that we can get you this stuff in the first month. We know we can get that far. And then in the next month, we're going to try for this. We can't guarantee that. It depends on what happens in between. Does this sound familiar? It's a lot like coaching. When you're coaching your client and they say, okay, in our next meeting, I've designed my actions. This is what I plan to do. And, you know, hold on. You may be doing a whole different, you may have something totally different that happens in between that will change what they can do in the next time.
Hey, Kathy,
here's a question.
Yes, and there's one more question that just came in. Might be a good time to take it. It's from Elka Wunderlich, and Elka asked, how does this methodology apply to non-IT projects?
We're going to talk about that. So if we could defer that, we can talk about that. Okay? Because you'll see why. If you just hold on to that question, if I do not answer that to your needs, please let me know at the end. Okay? Fair enough? This is the reason why, the whole reason why I'm doing this presentation at all. Because Agile works beautifully for any project team at all. Okay? Not just for technical. This is just how it started, how it evolved. Alrighty? Okay. Moving along. So, to be able to do Agile right, obviously, you're going to need very collaborative teams. The team has to be able to work together, everybody working equally to get the work done. We no longer have these little silos. Oh, I'm just a data analyst. I'm just a person who tests. Now it's everybody does whatever's necessary to get the work done. The customer is actually part of the team. They sit with the team the whole time so that they can answer questions immediately. This adds to this agility and this flexibility. They can make decisions right then and there. They can make sure that what is being produced is what they need. The customer is ultimately responsible for what they get, so they have a vested interest to be very involved in this. You know, these are different, very different paradigms for businesses. And then the third thing is that the teams are self-managed. No longer do you have a team lead saying, okay, team, this is what we're doing today or this week or whatever. You don't have a project manager going, okay, Joe, where are you on this task? Where are you on, how come you're late on this? When are you going to deliver? You don't have that anymore. Now you have a team that together, based on their knowledge, their experience, they feel that this is what we can do and we're going to deliver it. They're much more vested in it, much more motivated and productive, and they tend to be more efficient. You have fewer issues and errors when you do it this way. So this is what goes into making an Agile team. As you can imagine, a team cannot develop these skills by themselves. And so Agile created the Scrum Master to help the team get to this high performance. I mean, think about it, a project team who's never seen Agile and is told, okay, now we're going to change the whole way you do things, but you have to still be as productive as you were before. They don't have the head width, the head space to be able to learn a new process as well as continue to do their work. So they have this magician who comes in and helps them to move along to create this process. They remind them, they coach them, they work with them. They are not the Scrum Master is not a team member. He is an objective partner with the team to help them get to this place of high performance while still being productive. So does this sound familiar? Yes, it's a team coach, okay? You have to have a good team coach for teams to thrive, okay? And you will use all the competencies to coach that team to high performance. So if we look back at this iterative way, during that 2 to 4 week sprint, you are using, the coach is going to be using establishing trust and intimacy. The team members all have to trust each other to be able to thrive in this and to be able to be productive. You're using coaching presence. You are not there as the team lead. You are not there as the guru. You are there as the partner with the team to get them to high performance. You use active listening. Wow, the energy has totally changed in this group. What's going on? You're using powerful questions. Okay, team, based on what we learned about how we did in this, what is the most powerful thing we can do moving forward? You use creating awareness in a big way, and we're going to talk about that in retrospective. So in this area here, the 2 week sprints, you're going to be using just about all the competencies. The next one that you're going to be using, coaching big time, is in this retrospective, which happens at the end of every sprint, so every 2 to 4 weeks. This is where coaching shines. This is the whole idea behind here, is to create awareness and design actions. What is it that we're great at? What do we want to become greater at? What are we going to do to be able to do this? This is where you'll use team activities. I use assessments in this area. Okay, so we'll do, TKI assessments or Myers-Briggs or something to increase the awareness of who I am as a team member, who are all these other people as a team member, and what is our identity as a team. Finally, in the planning, you're using, of course, goal setting and planning, and managing progress and accountability, which you do a little bit of managing progress and accountability in the other two as well, but big time here. So where are we overall, that roadmap I spoke of? Where are we in the roadmap? How does what we just learned affect the roadmap? What do we need to go back to the customer and tell them? How are we going to be accountable for what we missed, or how are they going to be accountable for what they missed? So a Scrum Master is going to use all of the competencies. Oh, establishing agreement goes without saying. That's in every one of these. Every meeting you have, you're going to establish agreement. And of course, the planning with the business, you're establishing agreement. So it is a very rich environment for coaches who have been trained in the ICF competencies. It is a chance for you to shine as a coach and to really develop very keen skills in coaching a team. And one of the things that probably goes without saying is that a team is coached as an individual with many voices. Okay, so you use all your skills just the same way you would coach an individual. You're using this with the team, and it's rich, it's exciting, it's fun, very motivating to see a team develop with your coaching and how they do it. And you learn a lot about yourself and about coaching when you do this. Okay, any questions about this at this point? Anything that's not clear?
There's a number of questions that are coming through. I'm going to unmute Laura Hauser. She has several questions that she's asked. So Laura, I'm going to unmute you so you can ask Kathy.
Sure. Hi, Laura Hauser. Kathy, thank you. This is terrific. I've been hearing a lot about Agile methodology, and it's great to see specifically what it is. A couple of things that came to mind for me. One is kind of what's the roots of this, and are there any theoretical roots? I mean, what's the research on it? Who started it, et cetera? So that's one piece, putting on my educator hat. And then on the practitioner hat, I also wonder, to what extent do you take the time to educate, and this is an assumption that you do take the time, to educate the team up front on the Agile methodology to include people's roles, the coach's role, et cetera. So maybe that fits in with contracting, but we'd love to hear your perspective on both of those questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I'm going to address this quickly because those are huge questions. The theory behind it was based on work that we did back in the 70s and 80s, RAD and JAD, so Joint Application Development and Rapid Application Development, which was very much what this is, very iterative. And there's a huge body of knowledge. There's the Agile Manifesto and the Agile Principles. You can Google all of these things and find out tons about it. So I don't really have the time to go into the depth of that, but there's a lot of information about Agile now that you know what you're looking for, that you can find that. So that is one piece. Oh, and now I don't remember your second part of your question, Laura. Can you unmute Laura for that second piece?
Yeah, Laura, you're unmuted.
Well, the second piece is to what extent do you educate the team up front on the Agile methodology and people's roles, including your own role as a coach?
Good. Yes, I actually have a presentation. I take the whole, when I come in and implement Agile in a business, I actually have education for the managers, a separate education for managers, and I have a 2-day class for the teams that teaches them what Agile is, how it works. We go into real specific stuff, what the roles are, what to expect. And so yeah, there are lots of classes out there. A lot of companies do this sort of thing. So you do that. I also have team kickoff that I do that helps the team create their mission, vision, and values. I wrote a book on this whole thing, so it's called Prism Teams. So yes, I do all that. And you want to do that. You need to give them the idea, the understanding of why we're doing this and what to expect from it. Because you cannot ask a team to change everything they do just because management says so. They need to know what's in it for them. Okay. Any other questions at this point?
Does anyone have any other questions? They can raise their hand and I'll unmute you.
Okay, let's move on. So, as ICF coaches, this is where you come in. Right now, the Scrum Masters that are out there, very few of them even know that coaching exists. They are told that they are to be team coaches. To become a Scrum Master, you take a 3-day class, costs $1,500. At the end of it, you get your certified Scrum Master designation. In that 3-day class, they have about 15 minutes on, if that, on what coaching a team means. So what's happened is that a lot of these companies go in to implement Agile. Their Scrum Masters know nothing about getting the team to high performance. All they know is what Agile is and what are the mechanics of being Agile. And so they basically are there to train their team, and they become project managers. Highly ineffective. And what I have noticed is most companies that fail at implementing Agile, or that give up the what's called quote-unquote pure Agile and create their own flavor of it, is because they can't get their teams to become high-performing and productive, because the Scrum Masters don't know how to coach. And they have actually come up with what they call Agile Coaches. Basically, most Agile Coaches are Scrum Masters who have been very successful at doing what they're doing, just natural tendencies. And so they promote them to Agile Coach, and an Agile Coach usually has several Scrum Masters working for them, and they try to train those Scrum Masters to do what they do. There is a very small contingency in the world right now, notably Lisa Adkins, Lyssa Adkins, Adkins. She's been trained as a coach, and she has made it her life purpose to train Agile coaches and Scrum Masters in coaching, being able to be a coach. She doesn't go totally with the coaching competencies, but so there are some number of people out there who are learning via Lisa, and I believe there's somebody in Australia who's doing this as well. However, that is a very small percentage of the Agile coaches and the Scrum Masters out there. So all of you people who know how to coach a team, who know how to get a team to high performance, this is an incredible opportunity for you to be able to become a very effective Agile coach, to come in and very quickly get your teams to high performance. And businesses, they're just amazed that, oh my gosh, how did you do that? It's like you're a wizard. No, I'm not a wizard. I'm a coach. This is what coaches do. Okay? So you have to know about team coaching. You have to be a coach. But you also have to be able to talk the talk of the teams. And this is, who was it that asked me the question about, does this work for other than technical teams? This is what's important. So I tried bringing in an apprentice coach to be an Agile coach under me as I was implementing this for a technical program, a technical business, and it didn't work. There was not the trust and intimacy with her. It was with me, but I was in IT for 35 years. I speak their language. I know what they're going through, and it's obvious when I talk to them. It wasn't with her. And so what I realized is you need to be able to understand the team and the business that you're going into. Having said that, you don't have to be a technical person. There are many businesses other than technical businesses that you can do this in. Think about this. Marketing firms, they have projects. My gosh, that's all they do is projects. Construction firms, they have to build a building. There's a project. Law firms, they have all kinds of projects. Commercial real estate firms. Any company that uses teams to get work done can benefit from Agile. And if you put your thinking cap on and think about what is it that you did before coaching, what is it that you're knowledgeable in, what language do you speak, and then think about how can I use what I learn about Agile to help people in that industry do their work more efficiently, build their teams, and be able to complete projects much more effectively and productively. Okay, you with me so far? Questions at this point?
Kathy, we have a couple questions that have come in. One is from Karen Centio. Karen asked, do you position yourself as the Scrum Master or a coach?
I position myself as a coach. I call myself an Agile coach. And I will say Agile transformation coach because I help businesses transform their projects using Agile.
Thank you. And then the second question is from Bernard Chanelau. And Bernard asked, what is the certification body for Scrum Masters? In the coaching we have ICF. Who is regulating this?
Well, there are two. And I did not dig in to get those names. I can't even remember off the top of my head. There is one that's been around, and it's Agile. Wait a second. I have it at the end. Anyway, it's at the end. You'll see. But a new one has come in that is much, much more technical. So I'll give you that information at the end who that is. But there are two, and you can use either one. Okay? Now, wait, there's more. As an Agile transformation coach, you can coach in many different ways. For instance, managers. So think about this. With managers, anytime they are working with teams of people, you can coach them in increasing their trust with the teams, in managing their own or their team's progress and accountability, planning and goal setting at the portfolio level, and the biggie, which is the change management around implementing Agile. Because there is a big training curve. And it's a little bit smaller in businesses than it is in the technical world. What I've found in the technical world is that the team members tend to be on the low end of the change cycle, the pragmatists, the people who don't like change. You have to tell them what's in it for them. Oops, hold on. So managers need to understand where they are on the change curve as opposed to where their teams are. You can coach them through all of that. Also, think in terms of leadership teams. So a leadership team of executives, usually, they have a lot of work to do, but they're seldom organized enough to do it. In addition, they tend to be not working together as a team. Each one has their own agenda, which is usually to make my department profitable. And so there's a lot of undercurrents and backstabbing and stuff going on. Imagine being able to come in with a proven getting work done process like Agile to help them become a true team. You coach them into becoming a true team where their agenda is getting their company profitable as opposed to just their department, where they're recognized from the rest of the company as a team, and where they're able to manage their work in a way that they get results early and often. So Agile for leadership teams is very powerful. There's project teams, and we've already talked about that. And then there's coaching for other coaches and Scrum Masters. If you go in as an Agile coach to a company that is already doing Agile, they will have many Scrum Masters who have no idea how to coach. And I have many times gone in and had a training process for training Scrum Masters in coaching, but then coaching them as we go along, and helping them learn how to do peer coaching and coaching of their people. So it's not just the project teams that you can have the opportunity with Agile, but all these other areas. So not only are there different businesses other than technology, and oh, by the way, those businesses have barely been touched by Agile at this point. This is a completely wide open area that we as trained coaches have laid at our feet. This is an opportunity to make a very big impact in the business world. Questions?
So Kathy, we've just got a couple minutes. One question that came up is, what Agile training would you recommend for ICF coaches? And does Agile coach training give you CCEUs? Okay, I'm going to actually talk about that. Let me go to this next slide real quick, which is how do you get started? First, research it. Go out and read. Get on the internet, has got tons of stuff on Agile. Research it. Get Agile training. The next slide will tell you where. Get some experience. Go apprentice yourself to an Agile coach. Or go in as a Scrum Master. Get your CSM and just go in as a Scrum Master. Get some experience of being with Agile. Or create your own Agile team, your own Agile project. I once did an Agile project where I'm a potter, and somebody asked me to make 10 pots or 10 bowls for their wedding to give to their bridesmaids. And we actually did an Agile project where every 2 weeks we get back together. I'd show her what I've done so far and such. Get experience and then develop your business. And then finally, here's some resources for you. Go look at agilemethodology.org. That's kind of like it's like ICF, okay? Agile Nutshell gives you some really good, easily understood ideas of what Agile is. And Mountain Goat Software also has some really good stuff that's easily understood by people who are not technical. Good training. I have an introduction to Agile for coaches. It goes in and gives you a lot of methods and processes and
goes in a little bit into the marketing. So it's a good introduction to Agile. For a deep dive into it, then you'd want to go to Lisa Atkins at the agilecoachinginstitute.com. And then finally, your Scrum Master training. If you're going to be at all with technical firms, you'll need to get your CSM, and there is a ton of providers out there for Scrum Master training. Basically, it costs $1,500, takes 3 days. So you all have the ability to get to these slides so you can get this information and move forward. So at this point, any other questions? I think we just have a couple minutes. Hopefully I was able to give you a taste that you can use then to move forward.
So Kathy, I want to thank you for presenting to us today, and I want to encourage anyone who is on the program who has more questions for Kathy or who'd like to learn more to visit Kathy's website, which is www.realresults.us.com. The second password for today, for anyone who needs the password,